Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card in a card. Sometimes it's called a hidden card, and it basically becomes self-explanatory when you open the card. You've opened it and there's another card inside. I have done similar ideas of the concept. This is the one I did a while ago where you open it one way and then it goes back on itself, so it becomes two cards. You've got to keep digging for your greeting. And then there's a one that's called a storybook card where you open it, you open it and there's a little bit more and you get to keep going. It just prolongs the suspense until you get to what's inside. So more or less the same with this one. You open it to reveal another little card inside, and eventually you get to the inside greeting. So without further ado, let me show you how we'll make it. Of course, all the directions and dimensions will be in the description box below, but this is what it takes to make it. You need a piece of 11" by 4 1/4, pretty standard, and then we're going to fold that in half. I'd already gone ahead and cut mine. Fold it, score it, and that becomes basically a standard card base. But then what we also need to do is cut off 2 3/4 pieces. It's just half of the front section in the Fresh Freesia. The other little part is a second piece, and this measures 10 by 3 1/4, and being 10, it's scored at 5 and folded in half. You need some designer series paper, and this one is the regular 1/4 inch smaller layer size, so that's 5 1/4 by 4. There's a piece which is 2 1/2 by 4, which fits onto this little section. And then we need some basic white. We need 2 pieces that measure 3 by 4 3/4, and they go on here, one on the outside, one on the inside. And then the other one is 2 1/2 by 4, and that fits on the piece we cut off from here and turn sideways to make the greeting on the front. So let's get started with some of the stamping, and then we can get on to the assembling. So what I need to do is also bring in a little piece of basic white cardstock extra to what we needed to make the stamping. And we're going to stamp 2 flowers. We're going to be using the Darling Details and the Darling Detail dies, and these are the 2 flowers that we're going to cut to make these 2 pieces. And then we're going to be using Sentimental Park to do the inside stamping, and they've just got the most fabulous selection of greetings. So what we need to do is do a little bit of stamping off. I know you've seen me do this before. So if you have a 2-step stamp, so you get the same color but a lighter refrain. So we'll take the first layer and ink it up, and then we're just going to stamp it off onto a scratch of paper and then onto the cardstock, so it's slightly lighter. So that means when you come to put the darker color on, it goes on full strength on top, and then you can see that there is a difference. So let me just give those a good wash, because we're going to use them again in a different color. So we'll pop the crushed curry yellow away for a minute and then bring in the Fresh Freesia. So same concept. We're going to stamp this into the ink, stamp it off onto a scratch of paper, and then stamp it. Actually, you can see I picked up a little bit of ink of that, but it doesn't really matter because they're both going on the same card in the same color. And then we're going to use the full strength part of it and stamp it on the top. So again, we'll just give that a quick wash. I'm just going to straighten up my camera. It seems to have gone astray a little bit. And then by the power of Blue Peter and YouTube and television, here are the ones I've already run through the die cutting and embossing machine. And then last but not least, we'll bring in the Granny Apple Green, and we'll stamp the greenery And again, same trick of magic. We will bring in one of those that I ran through the die cutting and embossing machine a little bit earlier using the die. So this was for the flower and this was for the greenery. So that's the little extra pieces that we need for the outside. And then let's get on to what we'll stamp on the inside. So we're going to use the same principle. We're going to stamp on and stamp off. So we'll bring back in the Fresh Freesia. And we will actually, I think I'm going to stamp the outline first. I think it just works a little bit better with this particular stamp set. So I'm just going to stamp the main full strength of that one, and then we'll come back in and stamp this one off on a scratch of paper so it's a lighter colour. Oh, my head doesn't stick in the shot. And then you just get a little bit of a lighter colour on that one. And then we'll go, well actually no, we'll do the leaves first. I was going to do the two pieces, but we'll move on and finish one before we move on to the second. So we're going to stamp this with Granny Apple Green, but it's a little bit strong, I thought, so I just stamped it off onto a scratch of paper. And then you see you just get sort of a lighter refrain of the colour. So that's going to go, that's one of the insides done. And then we'll repeat the process with the crushed curry. We'll do the outsides full strength this time. And then we'll bring in the inside layer. Stamp that off onto a scratch of paper and stamp it so you just get a light refrain. And then we'll bring back in the leaves with the Granny Apple Green. Stamp those off and pop them on so they all look lovely. So now what we have to do is decide what words we want. So on the main card, outside said celebrate, the pink one says you, dear friend. So what I did was, because it's on an acrylic block, you can actually go ahead and put the greetings together. You're not limited to what you can have as a greeting. So we'll use the Misty Moonlight and ink up. These are two separate stamps, but they go so nicely together. So that says you, dear friend. And then the yellow one just gets a little happy birthday. So there's lots of room left for you to write your greeting. This is basically the inside of the card. And then what we need to do is attach these pieces to the outside. Quite often I'll use dimensionals to attach something like this, but because the card's a little bit thicker in itself, I didn't want to overdo how much I could get through with the post office. So I just need to pop a little bit of glue on the back of there, and it can even stick out a little bit because it's not going to, oops, when it fits on here, it's not going to overhang the outer edge of the card overall. That would fit inside the envelope. So there's the greeting. And what are we going to do with our friend? We're going to celebrate. Let's celebrate. So let's celebrate you, dear friend, because it's your birthday. So that seems to be all the stamping done. Now we can go ahead and do some assembling. So we'll bring in the main body of the card. Ooh, more pieces. And put this in its usual 1/4 inch border around, and then we'll bring in the other piece, and that goes on the little half front part just here. Then we can build this card, and happy birthday, like I say, goes on the inside of the inside. It's a nice border around. This goes on the front of the inside. Like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop this onto the inside of the card. And we're going to just put it at the edge of the designer series paper. We don't want it to go too far because you don't want it to not be able to close, because it is a little bit fat. I have sent these in the mail, and I took it honestly to the post office to fess up, and it managed to go for just regular postage. So as long as you don't add too much dimension and too much thickness, it just about squeaks through. So here's the inside, the outside of the inside. Here's the inside of the inside. And then what we need to do is pop the very front greeting. Oh, a little bit conky. And pop that onto the outside piece. And then those of you who are familiar with the ZZ fold trick that we use, we're just going to fold it over. This is the side that would be stuck down, so make sure this is the side that is over. You can line it all up nice and evenly, and you know you don't want to put adhesive further than this point, otherwise you'll stick your card down. So we can put the adhesive up to that point, and then put the rest on, and then bring it back down, and you can make sure it's all nice and even. And you know, when you put this piece on, it's not going to overhang with the sticky. And that's it, card in a card, hidden message card. I think it's really cute and effective. So here's the original. I mean, basically it's just a snap. Perhaps this Let's Celebrate is a little bit further down. If you've liked what you've seen, please go ahead and subscribe. I like likes. Shares are the biggest honor that you could give me, because it means that you want to share me with somebody else and think my ideas are good enough to do so. Tomorrow, as this goes live into YouTube, it should be September 5th. Tomorrow, the holiday mini catalogue goes, tomorrow as in September 6th, the holiday mini catalogue goes live. So don't forget to check back often. I've already posted a few holiday cards. You can shop that on my website. There is a link to my online store. And that's it, my lovelies. Thank you so much for watching.